Hello walkers, and welcome back to Hyalite Canyon. This is going to be the second half of a walk I started a little while ago. This road goes back the way we came along the south edge of the reservoir and goes back towards a cabin that you can rent. We, however, are going to take the opportunity to go around the north side of the reservoir and along the road. We're just going to walk the road because there's a couple campgrounds and it's pretty nice. We will have to go through a construction zone. Have to play that by ear, see how it goes. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide as we walk around Hyalite Reservoir just outside of Bozeman, Montana. It's a very popular location. I'm going to flip you around here because you didn't come here to see me. And as Bozeman, sorry, I gotta take my phone out of my pocket here. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, early August, and 78 degrees, I'd say, Fahrenheit. I think it's 25 degrees Celsius, maybe a little cooler. You will be able to see later. In fact, I'll spin you around here so you can see it now. The smoky haze that we have here today, which makes it feel overcast, even though if you look up, it's maybe partly cloudy at best. But it does, I think, cool it off a little bit, even though it's terrible for our health. Extreme fire danger in this area. So all sorts of fire restrictions, but the campgrounds are open, trails are open, the reservoir, of course, is open. Lots of people out paddleboarding, kayaking, fishing, swimming, all that fun stuff. We are currently headed, I'd say pretty close to due north. And this is a really quiet road, especially on a weekday, which is what it is today. It's a Wednesday. And you can see the puddles on the right. We've had a little bit of rain recently, which has hopefully lessened the danger of forest fire. A little bit anyway. We've got, I said it in the earlier video, we've had, I was listening to the radio earlier today and they said 30 fires going currently in Montana. 500,000 acres burned, half of that in the last week. 140 houses burned, 600 people displaced, and really junky air. Certain points in the morning and evenings, you'll smell it. It'll smell like a campfire. Off to the left here, there's a little sign I want to read, so I'll poke down here, is Hyalite Creek. That feeds Hyalite Reservoir. And there's a little trail down here, and this probably says, please don't come in here. I'll show you. East and west forks of Hyalite Creek closed to fishing from December 1st to July 14th. Open to fishing beginning July 15th. This is a pretty steep trail, so I'm not going to walk along that. Plus, I don't know where it goes. You can see the creek down there. It's really pretty, really scenic, crystal clear water. Very beautiful. Kind of water you would definitely want to filter before you drank it, but nevertheless, pretty. Oh yeah, I can smell the smoke now. Big gust of wind came up and gave me a snootful. Some fireweed off to our left, but also some Indian paintbrush. I feel like they should probably, that's ripe for a name change. That's really pretty. I think that's what it is. If I got that wrong, please correct me in the comments below. I'm definitely open to getting the best information out there. Also, subscribe, comment, click like if you don't mind. That helps me out a whole lot. So does sharing with your friends. It's very helpful, very handy. I'll speak a little bit more at the end of this about some future plans for the channel. Yeah, so stick around for that. But in the meantime, I might just zip. Whoop, we got a pretty little butterfly here, if it'll stick around. I'm not sure what that flower is. I have a suspicion it could be spotted knapweed, but I don't think it is. Right color, but I don't think that's what that is. Looks growing differently. Hear a helicopter overhead. Just makes me think of Switzerland. I did a bunch of walks in Switzerland in 2019. A lot of fun, beautiful. Oh my gosh, so beautiful, so stunning. Anyway, they also complained a lot about all the helicopters because that's how they move a lot of stuff around up there. But there's, all day long there's helicopters flying around. Little beautiful little, just a tiny little spring creek there. Probably not a spring, but really soothing. Lots more fireweed here on the side. Not sure what this big thing is. Almost looks like dill. Huh. We have a mixture of spruce in here, trees, and I believe lodgepole pine, and maybe some Douglas fir, primarily. I'm not sure what kind of spruce it is. If you see anything else that I'm not identifying or that I misidentified, let me know. Not really. Not actually seen any Doug fir, unless that's a Doug fir. Love these towering trees. So nice to walk in amongst them. One of the things I like to try and remember to talk about on these walks is another sense, the smell. You guys see, you guys hear, but you can't really smell what's going on out here. And it's a combination of these pine needles and sap. And then because we're so close to the reservoir and the creek, and there's these willow bottoms down to our left, and you can't really see them, but on the other side of these trees, you get a lot of moisture, the sort of moist, willowy smell. It's kind of sweet. It's all very pleasant and relaxing, soothing. Smells like the West. Looks like we're approaching the construction zone, and we'll have to figure out what we can do. I think I can walk through here, but maybe there's a trail around it. We'll find out. I didn't bring bear spray today because, well, I forgot it. But also, you always need to be prepared for bears, and last thing you want to do is surprise a bear. But I feel like there's so much traffic around here, I'd be really surprised if, especially this time of day, if there were any bears bumbling about. Although, that said, it's not impossible. Expect 30-minute traffic delays. Yeah. Here's a bunch of that willowy bottomland. And I can see right here, these footprints, looks like maybe a moose has gone back in there or some deer. So I guess a bear isn't impossible. It's just so loud and busy back here, it would surprise me. Ooh, just got my 10,000 steps on my Fitbit. So I'm gonna get over here so I can, oh, a little robin there. You can see kind of the far side of the lake. That's where that other trail that I walked earlier is. And it was a very pleasant stroll. And then we'll look up here and we'll start to see the reservoir through the smoky haze of a west on fire. gonna get into some music coming out of this car. Hopefully YouTube won't have any flags set off by it, but I'll probably just keep on talking as we go by, just for the sake of making everybody happy, letting the copyright holders know that I'm not trying to take anything from them without, you know, get value from them. Here we go. Now, I think I'm going to keep walking and then find a trail off to the left. You can see it's pretty, there's a trail out there, but then it gets pretty wet in spots. And I don't really want to slip and slide around. So there's I believe a place where I can cut off to the side. Oh, here comes the construction equipment. Looks like maybe they're going to widen this. Oh, hello there, Crow. Look at you. What have you got down there? Some kind of carrion. Very cool. Actually probably a raven. Awesome, amazing birds. And maybe we will cut off to the left here, just to see what we can dodge around. Whoa, okay, dirt in my shoes. Alrighty. Whoops. Alright. Looks like I might get my feet wet. And we'll give it a shot. Yeah, that's soggy ground right there, tell you what. This is soft, for sure. Alright guys, it's a cute little creek here. And I gotta jump across. Hopefully not get too wet. Ah, nice. We're good. Crisis averted. So at high water, this is all underwater. And I guess I'm going to follow this trail. Might go out to the road and we'll have to backtrack, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Hopefully it'll lead around, bypass the work going on. Ooh, we're right adjacent to the campground. So that's handy. We'll go through the campground because I see a cool RV up here. I've always back in 2010, I think, 2011, we decided to sell our house and buy an RV and travel full time for a little while. But if you will recall, it was not a great time to sell a house. Oh, here's a flag. This is interesting. So this says no fires due to wildfire danger. So that means no campfires whatsoever. Stage 2 fire restrictions. Probably you can still camp over or cook over a gas flame. Anyway, back to my story. Nobody wanted to buy our house. So instead, I started a video production business, marketing company, which we ran for a few years. And then look at that, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen that model of RV before. It's pretty neat. And I'm gonna walk around this way. I think it's a loop. It's a pretty nice campground. Look at these parking spots. Really nice, really flat. Pretty cool. Anyway, so that kind of wound itself down, and eventually we decided, hey, the market's different. Let's sell our house. And we decided that instead of buying an RV, we would go to Europe. So we did that for a year, spent a month at a time in various countries. I think we ended up hitting 13 total. Just had an amazing experience. And we put that on the Traveling Mel YouTube channel. So if you want to see all the stuff we did, or a lot of the stuff we did, you can check that out. So you can see these are reservable here. That's reserved. And then also you can see that, I'm gonna go by this creek too. They have these bear boxes, so you can store your, if you're tent camping, you can store your food in the bear resistant containers there. They are lockable, but you don't need to lock them just for the bears. I guess if you want to keep your valuables in there, you could do that. I'm not sure which creek this is. I suspect it's one of the forks, East Fork or West Fork of Hyalite Creek. Look how beautiful and relaxing, serene this is. That's pretty nice to have right next to your campground. Alrighty, moving on. Really nice campground. They've done a lot of work on this since the last time I was here, which was admittedly probably 15 years ago. I kind of want to walk on that trail, but it's not really a trail. You can see somebody's taking an axe to this tree. An old dead one. Didn't really get that far. See what they're doing. Well, to see the work they're doing, I don't know what they're trying to, what the end product will be. I think this might be a boat ramp or a day use area off to the left. We're gonna go find out. Or maybe this is the bypass, the old road. A little day use area. Some trails out to the water, some picnic tables. Nice. Looks like they are either redoing the road or creating a new road up above here. The old road was pretty, well, it was insufficient for the number of people that come up here to use it. So as much as I dislike all the noise and sound involved with the construction, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the result. And it'll make our public lands even more accessible for local people, which will be nice. See a fire ring down there with a flag saying fires are banned right now. Back where we started, I think I mentioned we were facing a gate, and there's a Forest Service cabin back that way that you can rent. And off to the right up here, I forget the name of that one, and now I'm drawing a blank on the one over here, but up on the right, up in the hills, not too far away, is another Forest Service cabin that you can hike into. It's really pretty nice. And off to the left, I think this is an old Boy Scout camp. Looks like it's in use, but nobody's there. Does that make sense? They've got some teepees to go along with their cabins. Obviously a volleyball net up by the burn piles. And then we'll get into a campground, I think. Got a deer fly or horse fly harassing me. And we're gonna have some music up here too. As happens when we pass cars. So I'm just gonna do a little talking as we pass by, just so that we don't set off any flags on the YouTube algorithm. And we'll just keep on walking here. There. Okay, that's the Hyalite Youth Camp, operated by the Gallatin Empire Lions Club, as you can plainly see. Wow, they really have improved this road. It's much wider, about twice as wide as it was, and much smoother. We're going to come up here on the left will be, excuse me, Wood Creek Campground, and there's also a boat ramp down there. So we'll go check that out to see what we can see. I believe it's 2.5 miles from where we started back to where we're going to end. So we're making pretty good time, but I am stopping to point things out and explore campgrounds and other trails and that sort of thing. So we're not quite making our Hood Creek, sorry. Not quite making our 15-minute mile, 4 miles an hour pace. Okay, I think Hood Creek, that's one of the trails that goes up to that Forest Service cabin. Not 100% sure about that. I will try to remember to... Oh, that's not going to happen. But hopefully I'll remember to put something about, remember the name of that cabin and the other one, and maybe link to the Forest Service site where you can learn more about them and potentially rent them. I will say that they, I think you can only, the earliest you can sign up is 6 months ahead of time. And if you wait to 5.5 months before time, they'll probably be taken, depending on when you're signing up. Parking at reserved sites after 2 p.m. Vehicle will be towed at owner's expense. Stage 1 fire restrictions plus, all fires banned. Stay limit is 16 days. $20 a day for a single site. And then $8 for something. I don't know what that is. That's a lot of money, actually. You know? You got some of the campsites. These folks, they're right down by the water, which is awesome. And there's a little creek going in there. Pretty fun. Pretty awesome campground. We got a little map. You can see that one's on a little knoll. That's pretty fun. I will say that I have camped up here earlier in the season, and you'll want to bring your bug spray. I'm already getting eaten by mosquitoes, but they can be much, much worse. Ooh, this is nice. I want to show you this because I haven't seen this before, and I'm pretty psyched to see it. You know those Coleman stoves, or those sort of camp stoves you can get? They work on these little 1-pound bottles of propane. Well, here's a recycling station, because and some other recycling and some bear-proof trash disposal. Those 1-pound and those propane and butane canisters, you're not supposed to legally put them in the landfills unless you punch them out, and so that all the pressure is removed from them. You can't recycle them for the same reasons, and so there aren't a lot of places to recycle them, and that's the only place I've ever seen outside of a national park with a collection spot. So I am super psyched to see that. Those things are great way to have a little bit of propane for a few days, and you stick it in your car and you're good. But you can't refill them legally. Well, you can't transport them refilled legally. I bought a little device that allowed you to refill them. Didn't allow you, it made it possible. I refilled a couple, and then I kind of chickened out. I was a little sketched out by the whole idea of it. And so my new theory is you can get these 5-pound tanks, which are about probably the size of 2 or 3 of those things, but 5 times as much propane. And you buy an adapter, and that I think is going to be and you can have those refilled. I think that'll be a good compromise. Folks out enjoying their paddle boards on the reservoir. Huh. These folks are sitting on what looks like something that used to be a boat ramp. And then really not much of a boat ramp here. Just a gravel bar. Nice, plenty of parking, pit toilet. All fires banned. And we're going to take one of these sort of informal trails back up to the road. Or a regular back up to the campground, looks like. Oh. That was someone letting air out of a paddleboard, inflatable paddleboard. Well, it's more of a creek bed than a trail. Oh well. Here's another one. Oh, it's going to take me into somebody else's campsite. Did not mean to do that. Just trying to find my way through. Here we go. This'll do. road up there. I see a lot of these signs saying parking at a reserve site after 2 p.m. will get you towed. We stayed in Death Valley back in March for 2 nights, and people, I think, were new to camping, new to the whole experience, so totally understandable, but they'd come in and they'd not see that the site was reserved, and they'd start setting up their camp. And the people that had reserved it would come back and be like, "What are you doing?" And it led to some upsetness, some angry folks, which I get, especially there where you're a good 2 hours from a hotel, if you can find one available. These guys on the left brought a bunch of firewood, and they can't use it. But these are great little campsites, right next to the lake, great views. The ability to use the internet to reserve campsites is really useful. It takes away a lot of the unknowns, etc., but it also makes it harder to get a campsite because they're already reserved months in advance. So it takes away a lot of the impromptu joys of travel. Can't just roll up and expect to find a site anymore. Oh, it smells good. That wetland there, that smell of a wetland is really nice. Some more fireweed here. Both sides of the road. You can see that tall grass gets pretty moist. And again, that's not cloud cover, that's smoke, forest fire smoke. One of the other things I like about this campground is how spaced out all the sites are. That's really nice. Another pit toilet, so you don't have to walk too far. Little chipmunk running across the road. Hey there, buddy. Funny little guy. That's quite an encampment down here. Not a bad spot, huh? It's going to be a nice morning and evening view. Oh, look at this view though. Wow. That might be the best spot in the campground. All right, so down there are more campsites. It's like 18, 19, and 20. And we're gonna just cut up here to the road. Ooh. Smell the pit toilet. It's not too bad, but not too good. Looks like this used to be the entrance and they've blocked it off. Can't tell you how much nicer this road is. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, honestly. You know, it does give more of the public access to their public lands, our public lands. But it also means more people in wild places, which I kind of like for myself. I know, it's super selfish, but it's honest. I mean, that's honestly how I feel. You know, and I think everybody feels like that, right? We come out to Montana, places like Montana or national forests, a little quiet, a little solitude. And I guess if you're coming from LA or New York or Dallas or Denver, this seems pretty quiet, pretty empty. If you're coming from Livingston, it seems a little busy. I guess we're kind of spoiled that way. Maybe not spoiled, but privileged, is that the right? It has a different connotation now. But we've made good decisions. Is that better? Maybe not good decisions, but decisions, conscious decisions. All right, up here on the left, you're going to start to see the dam that forms the reservoir. And you can see the parking lot and boat ramp across the way. There's a big pavilion over there. It's really nice. Lots of open space to have picnics and that sort of thing. Pit toilets, trailheads to other destinations. And that's where we started our previous walk. So check that out if you haven't. And then straight ahead is where Hyalite Creek continues on down. I guess it hits the East Gallatin. Trying to think of where it would flow into. It could go into the Gallatin, the main stem. A lot of people have been up here mountain biking. That's pretty cool. There's the overflow. Mountains in the background. It's getting dusty. See some dead fish down there that have been, I assume, trapped. This is some sizable fish too. Trapped when they shut this overflow off and no longer had a flow of water. Poor guys. And then we'll look back up the reservoir. We started all the way around that bend, so you guys have been walking for 2.5 miles or so. Good on ya. Lovely views, even with the haze.